Wishing you a very, very happy new year. And thanks for tuning in to this Wednesday edition of the World Report with me, Arjun Summer Mahendran. Let's dive right in. Chinese President Xi Jinping has declared that no one can stop China's reunification with Taiwan. In a New Year's speech, Xi reiterated his stance, calling the people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait one family and warning pro-independence forces both within Taiwan and abroad. Now, this comes as Beijing continues its military activities near Taiwan, with warships and planes conducting frequent operations in the region. Taiwan, which rejects Beijing's sovereignty claims, still insists its future can only be decided by its own people. Now, tensions remain high, especially after Taiwan elected a new president in May, whom Beijing labels a separatist. Now, the year also saw large-scale Chinese war games around Taiwan, while U.S. arms sales to the island have added to the strain between Washington and Beijing. On the other hand, viewers, Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te has said on Wednesday that he would continue to strengthen the country's defense in the face of Beijing's aggression. In an address marking the first day of the new year, he underlined how everyone had a duty to protect the island's democracy. Lai described China, Russia, North Korea and Iran as quote-unquote authoritarian countries that collaborated to threaten the international order.
新的一年，变动的国际局势对全球民主国家而言充满严峻的挑战。当前俄乌战争、以哈冲突仍在进行，中国、俄罗斯、北韩、伊朗等威权政体更持续合流，威胁以规则为基础的国际秩序，严重影响印太及全球的和平稳定。
On Monday, the World Health Organization issued an urgent appeal to China, calling for transparency and access to vital information that could unlock the mystery of how COVID-19 first emerged. Now, it emphasized that without transparency and cooperation, the world risks being caught off guard by future epidemics all over again. But China's response on Tuesday was swift and rather defiant. The country's foreign ministry insisted they had already shared critical information with the world, including the viral gene sequence early on in the pandemic, and they dismissed any claims of withholding any data whatsoever. US President-elect Donald Trump has reiterated his stand with the H-1B visa row, backing merit over America First agenda being pushed by the MAGA supporters. Now, in his latest statement, viewers, Trump has said that he wants the smartest and the most competent people to come to the US, and that there will be new kinds of jobs available in the country under his presidency. This is as the Trump camp is divided over the visa issue. Republican Party supporters and Donald Trump's team, in fact, disagree on H-1B immigration debate. 30% of Republicans favored a decrease in legal immigration compared to only 14% Democrats. Thousands of people led by students rallied in Bangladesh's Dhaka, calling for the prosecution of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and also those responsible for hundreds of deaths in a mass uprising against her government in July 2024. The country's anti-discrimination student movement organized what they call a March for Unity, viewers, at the central Shahid Minar. It's a national monument in Dhaka. Protesters chanted slogans calling for Hasina's trial and the banning of Awami League Party. South Korea's acting president Choi Sang-mok has appointed 2 justices to the Constitutional Court on Tuesday in an attempt to avoid further conflict in the country. At a cabinet meeting, Choi emphasized that the need for mediation and compromise is dire. The country has been plunged into a huge political crisis since former President Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached after imposing martial law earlier this month. Now, Choi has stressed that the appointment of the justices was out of desperation to end the political uncertainty and social conflict in order to prevent an economic crisis. Listen in to what he had to say.
다만 여야 합의를 통해 헌법재판관을 임명해온 헌정사의 관행을 강조한 전임 권한 대행의 원칙을 존중하고 그간 진행되어 온 여야 간 임명 논의 과정을 고려하여 여야 간 합의에 접근한 것으로 확인된 정계선 조한창 후보에 대해서는 오늘 즉시 임명하되 나머지 한 분은 여야의 합의가 확인되는 대로 임명하겠습니다.
Relatives of the victims of a fatal plane crash of fire in South Korea visited the Muan airport. It's the site of the disaster. All but two of the 181 people aboard the Boeing 737-800 operated by South Korean budget airline Jeju Air died in Sunday's crash. Now, the aircraft, without its landing gear deployed, crash landed on its belly and overshot a runway at South Korea's South Muan International Airport. Now, this before it slammed into a concrete fence and burst into flames. Ceremonies were held just before midnight Tuesday to mark Bulgaria and Romania's full membership in the European Schengen area, the culmination of years of negotiations by Eastern European countries to join the ID check-free travel zone. Identification checks at the land borders between Bulgaria and Romania and their neighboring European Union member countries were officially ceased at midnight. Now, this will provide travelers free access to the rest of the 27 European Union bloc.
Este cu adevărat un moment istoric.
Това наистина е един исторически момент.
Este un moment plin de semnificații politice,
Това е един момент заслужил политическото си значение,
dar și cu consecințe practice deosebite pentru fiecare cetățean român, pentru companiile românești și cele bulgare, pentru companiile care operează în cele două țări, pentru țările noastre și pentru Europa.
но това е един изключително важен момент, както и за представителите на икономическия сектор, така и за гражданите на двете държави.
Tens of thousands of protesters led by university students gathered in Belgrade and other Serbian cities on New Year's Eve. Now, instead of the traditional street party to herald in the new year, they demanded political reforms and justice in the Balkan country. Protesters have been demonstrating for 2 months now, ever since the collapse of a concrete canopy at the central station in the northern town of Novi Sad on the 1st of November, in fact, which killed 15 people. The incident has been attributed to the corruption and substandard construction practices by the populist Serbian leadership, leading to widespread public outcry and demands for accountability.
Ovdje smo da u stvari da obeležimo novu godinu, ali na jedan poseban način. Ćutat ćemo u ponoć, ali drago mi je da se svi ovdje skupljamo zajedno i tu smo u stvari da zajednički obeležimo ovaj inače praznik, ali danas je jedan dan koji obeležavamo sa sećanjem na neki ljudi koji sa nama više nisu tu.
Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has vowed to provide Syria with any support necessary in a pre-recorded New Year's video message released on Tuesday. Now, Erdogan reiterated what he describes as the dawn of a new era in neighboring Syria and said the establishment of stability would lead to the return of millions of refugees who have been living in Turkey.
2024 senesinin son haftaları köklü tarihi, beşeri ve komşuluk ilişkilerimizin bulunduğu Suriye'de yeni bir dönemin kıvılcımı oldu. Yeni dönemin Suriye'de kalıcı barışa, huzura, istikrara ve ekonomik refaha kapı aralaması için gereken her türlü desteği sağlayacağız. Suriye'de istikrar ortamı kök saldıkça inanıyorum ki 13 yıldır vatan hasreti çeken Suriyeli muhacirlerin gönüllü geri dönüşü de kolaylaşacaktır.
Israel's ambassador to the United Nations has issued what he calls a final warning to Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi militants to halt missile attacks on the country. Now, Ambassador Danny Danon has said that the Houthis risk the same quote-unquote miserable fate as Hamas, Hezbollah and Syria's Bashar al-Assad if they persist any further. Danon also warned Tehran that Israel has the ability to strike any target in West Asia, including in Iran. He added that Israel would not tolerate attacks by Iranian proxies anymore. South Sudan has received 1.1 million doses of cholera vaccines on Monday. Now this as the country battles an outbreak of the disease. The vaccines donated by the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunizations arrived in Juba by flight. The cholera outbreak was declared in October in a border town between Sudan and South Sudan, but it has since spread to 6 of the country's 10 states, in fact. Now, the most affected groups are those displaced from their homes by floods and refugees from Sudan. Russia's once dominant gas supply to Europe via Ukraine is set to end, or has rather ended, on New Year's Day. The contract between the two warring countries that paid out billions to Moscow in gas reserve and to Kiev in transit phase has now come to an end. The shutdown of Russia's oldest gas route to Europe ends a decade of fraught relations sparked by Russia's seizure of Crimea all the way back in 2014, viewers. The European Union undoubtedly undoubled its effort to reduce its dependence on Russian energy after the outbreak of the war in Ukraine in 2022 by seeking alternative sources of energy. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has approved a law that abolishes the death penalty in the southern African state with immediate effect. Rights group Amnesty has hailed the decision as a beacon of hope for the abolitionist movement in the region, but expressed regret that the death penalty could in fact be reinstated during a state of emergency. Now, Mnangagwa's move comes after Zimbabwe's parliament voted earlier in December to scrap the death penalty. 2 security guards at a downtown Los Angeles shopping plaza were wounded in a gunfight with a man as they tried to stop him from making off with more than $1,000 in stolen merchandise. Los Angeles Police Department, or the LAPD, has said the guards confronted the man as he left a Target store at the outdoor shopping mall Monday night. Listen in.
During that scuffle, the suspect produced a pistol and fired indiscriminately, shooting 2 people. Both of those 2 individuals were shot with severe wounds. They were both transported to a local hospital where one was treated and released this morning, and the other one unfortunately had severe injuries and is still listed in critical condition.
Now, Harry Chandler, a Navy medic who had helped pull injured sailors from the oily waters of Pearl Harbor after the 1941 Japanese attack on the naval base, has passed away. He was 103 years old. Chandler died Monday at a senior living center in Florida. He had congestive heart failure. Doctors noted his advanced age while giving the cause of death. A blackout hit nearly all of Puerto Rico early on Tuesday as the U.S. territory prepared to celebrate New Year's, leaving more than 1.3 million clients in the dark. Officials say it could take up to 2 days to restore power. The outage hit at dawn, plunging the island nation into an eerie silence as electrical appliances and air conditioners shut down before those who could afford generators turned them on. Power outage was likely caused by a failure of an underground power line. Nearly 90% of 1.47 million clients across Puerto Rico were left in the dark. Rainfall has inundated tents sheltering displaced families across the war-torn Gaza Strip following a week of heavy rains and strong winds. Many tents were flooded over the past 2 days, adding to the misery of 2.3 million people trapped in more than 20 months of war between Hamas and Israel. Mana Lubert, a displaced woman from Gaza City, said the rainfall overwhelmed her tent in the central city of Deir el-Bala. A Hungarian enthusiast, Florian Sate, has shot the night sky with time-lapse videos depicting each month of the year in southern Hungary. Now, Sate's video is the result of 12 months of hard work. He has filmed more than 200 hours in the field, while preparation, travel and processing took him another 100 hours of work. He has recorded all the frames in the southern part of the Hungarian Great Plain, near his hometown of Baja, and around the river Danube. It's time we slip into a short break now. See you on the other side. Welcome back. Bitcoin reached a monumental milestone in 2024, surging over 120% to hit $100,000. The cryptocurrency's rise is fueled by US regulators approving exchange-traded funds tied to its spot price, institutional adoption, and market optimism surrounding Donald Trump's re-election. The sector's total market value now stands at a staggering $3.5 trillion, with analysts predicting further gains in 2025. The stock index closed mostly lower Tuesday as the market delivered a downbeat finish on the final day of another milestone-shattering year on Wall Street. The S&P 500 gave up an early gain to finish down 0.4%. The benchmark index, which set 57 record highs in 2024, racked up a 23.3% gain for the year. This was its second straight year with a gain of over 20%. The last time the index had as big a back-to-back annual gain was in 1998, viewers. US market's stellar run was driven by a growing economy, solid consumer spending, and a strong jobs market. Meanwhile, US plane maker Boeing is on track to be the biggest loser of 2024 in the Dow Jones Index, tumbling a whopping 32% as it bounces from one crisis to another. Rival Airbus, meanwhile, rose more than 11% for the year, and the benchmark S&P 500 gained more than 23% during 2024. Global oil prices also dropped 3% in 2024, marking a second consecutive annual decline. The dip is attributed to weak demand, abundant supply, and record U.S. oil production. Brent crude ended the year at $74.64 per barrel, while the West Texas Intermediate closed at $71.72. However, Trump's potential crackdown on Iranian oil exports could tighten supplies in 2025. Elon Musk has once again caused a stir, renaming himself Ciceus Maximus on social media platform X. The move, accompanied by a profile image of Pepe the Frog in Roman military attire, has sparked intrigue and speculation both. Now, the name Ciceus, viewers, refers to a meme tied to a gaming and far-right groups, while Maximus is likely a nod to the Gladiator film. Musk's change has also sent the value of a meme coin with the same name soaring, reigniting debates about his influence over cryptocurrency markets. BMW and Yamaha Motors have invested US-based rare earths processing startup Phoenix Tailings, aiming to bolster production of strategic metals outside China. Rare earths are essential for making magnets used in electric vehicles, cell phones, and other electronic devices. Now, this investment signals a push to reduce reliance on Beijing's dominance in refining these critical materials using innovative and cleaner technologies. In a major setback, Ford is recalling over 20,000 hybrid SUVs, including Escape and Lincoln Corsair models from 2020 all the way to 2024. Now, this is due to battery concerns. America's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says a manufacturing defect in the high-voltage battery cells could lead to internal short circuits. Dealers will update software and replace battery packs as needed, free of charge. It ends with US director Justin Baldoni has sued the New York Times for libel on Tuesday over its story on allegations that he sexually harassed, or rather he faced allegations of sexual harassment, viewers. Baldoni sought to smear the reputation of the film star Blake Lively. The lawsuit, seeking at least $250 million in compensation, was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court. The next major move in a growing story that has made major waves in Hollywood. It alleges that Times and Lively coordinated a smear campaign against Baldoni and his 9 fellow plaintiffs. The Times stood by its reporting and said it plans to vigorously defend against the lawsuits. Well, that's all we have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye and take care.